And I guess we're live. I've got some little, yes, we're live. Hi. And apparently my picture decided to go blank. If you're joining us, welcome to Rebel TV. This is something that we do Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about igniting your fire. You're all ready. And we're going to go into that a little bit further. My guests today are the effervescent Helana and the always awesome Sarah Kay. So ladies, I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself, and then we're going to go and hop right into what we've got going on today. Helana, you want to go first?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Helana, and I love that Jen describes me as effervescent. I love that. It's perfect. I'm a stay-at-home, work-at-home mom of two wonderful girls who I homeschool, and I just like to share my message, blogging, and getting to know new people that share the same passion and interests as I do.
And Sarah?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. I often go by Awesome Sarah Kay because I pretty much think that I'm the awesomest. That's kind of my thing. I'm also a mom. Currently, I have a full-time job, but it doesn't really give me what I want out of life. So I joined the Rebel Marketers, and here I am making that happen.
Woohoo, that's awesome. And just for those of you who don't know, this is actually also the Work at Home Mom Week. So we're celebrating our Work at Home moms. Awesome. So our question that I sent out to you guys was, you know, when you're learning a new skill or something, oftentimes we make the mistake of trying to be like the person we're learning from, and so we don't come off as being authentic, and we can't find our passion or our drive in what we're trying to do. So do you guys have an example of when you've actually done that and it didn't work and it was frustrating you that you were trying to learn something and you weren't getting it that way? You want to go first, Sarah, and then we'll do you, Helana, since you're muted.
Yeah. So for me, my example is life. Anytime that I want to do anything new, I'm a researcher, and I look up, okay, what are the steps that I have to accomplish to get to that goal? And then I look up, like, the most efficient way to do it. And in my experience, that tends to be set a schedule, make a list, have a routine, and just do it every single day. And every single time I do that, I get really creative with my implementation of said rigid structure and list, aka I fail miserably at actually implementing the rigid routine. And then I kind of beat myself up about it. Like, I wish I could be this robot that just does exactly what I tell myself to do, but that lately I'm finding that doesn't work for me.
I don't think it works for a lot of people. Helana, what's your experience?
Actually, I can relate with Sarah too, because whenever I want to learn something new as well, I research it and then I make a list of you know, how I could implement it into my life, and then I actually like start to plug it in. I put alarms on my phone like, hey, don't forget to do this. And then, you know, the alarm goes off and 2 seconds later I'm already sidetracked doing something else. So no matter how much you try to work that into a routine, it's really challenging. And so I'm the same way. I've written many blogs on being inconsistent and not forming habits in my life that I really do want to apply. But when it comes to learning something new, I have always found that trying to be like somebody else, that person that you're trying to learn from, it definitely doesn't work for me, because I have to be myself. I can't be that person, you know, because then you're trying to figure out how to be that person, but also how to do that thing, you know, and it's even more confusing that way, because you're trying to find out what works for you, and everything works for you in a different way than it worked for that person or that person. So I still struggle with it to this day. I try to be, I'm not trying to be other people, but trying to be like other people so that I can learn maybe what they know. But then, yeah, I'm just like Sarah. I beat myself up about it because I'm not like them, and it's foolish for me to even try to be like them.
And I think that I see that a lot, especially like when I'm on Facebook or Twitter or something. I'll watch somebody and I'll know them, and then all of a sudden they start talking differently, or they start doing this thing, and all of a sudden they become this other person, and you're like, okay, so is something that they're something they're trying to learn, or is this or are they actually growing, or is this them doing something that they're just trying to be like somebody else? And so it's kind of funny, because when you do that, if it's not something you're making a change into and you're actually going to stay there, you kind of come off as inconsistent and unauthentic. And I know that I did this for a really long time, especially like in my blogs. I was always trying to blog and sound like, okay, well, this is how you do this thing, and this is but I never really put myself into it. I was always being like the teacher instead of just telling people my experience. And so I think the other question I asked you guys was, so did there ever come a point that when you started to do something that you really liked and you really decided to skip the whole trying to be like the other person and actually just put yourself into it, did you find that your passion just kind of ignited and all of a sudden you started coming up with cool ideas and cool things to do? Helena, why don't you go first this time, and then we'll hop back to you, Sarah, and we'll just kind of go back and forth. What do you think, Helena?
That's exactly it. You just said it. When you stop trying to be like somebody and you find something and you just be yourself doing it, it just happens. Your passion just ignites. It just, you don't have to try anymore to implement it into your life and try to do it and try to learn it. It just kind of naturally happens, When you stop trying to be like someone else, or stop trying, like I was the same, Jen, when you're writing a blog, instead of just being me all goofy and silly and all over the place and losing my train of thought even in my blogs, I was trying to make it perfect and trying to make it like how a dignified writer would write, a masterpiece and everything. Well, that's not me. That's not how I am. I'm new at all of this, and I want my readers to relate with me and my personality and my passions. And so when they read my totally odd, out of place blogs, and I even lose train of thought in my blog, and I'm like, okay, so back to the point here, you know what I mean? So that's me, and a lot of people can relate to me. And, those are the people that I'm attracting. So when you just be you and you find something you like to do, but be you at it, then it just happens. Your passion just ignites. Your fire, your flame just starts burning, like you said.
How about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I think the way that I articulate it to myself is it's this little subtext that I have, and I had to learn to do this, but it was everyone out there that you see, like when you want to learn something new, everyone has their own how, and that's all that they're going to be able to teach you is how they do it. That's what people have to offer. They say, this is what you need to do, and this is how you have to do it. Well, what I'm finding is working for me is to not ignore how they are suggesting that I do it, but to put much more emphasis on the actual end goal. It's almost micromanaging, and I think nobody likes to be micromanaged, right? And the way to get past that is to focus on the actual outcome and the goal. Like for our business, I think most of us here, we operate primarily on a blog or a social media platform. The goal is to get people to read or engage with what we're saying. It really doesn't matter how you do that. And so it's nice to get suggestions, but as long as you stick with that goal in mind and then you allow yourself, like Helena was just saying, to just be yourself, the how doesn't matter. And so you'll find your way as long as you're focusing on that goal. I think that works. I think that works for everyone if you let it work instead of trying to keep forcing yourself into this one way of doing it.
Yeah, forcing yourself into the box. It doesn't work. Pop out of the box. Be the Jack in the Box. There we go. And yeah, I was listening to an audio this weekend, and I was listening to this guy talk about how we're already badasses and we don't really even know it, because we've learned stuff like we've learned how to walk and talk and eat and do all these things that, and we fell on our butts and we poked ourselves in the eye. I mean, and we're all moms, so we've seen our kids do this, and we've already had this reminder, and we forget about it. We forget how infinitely cool we were. And I mean, we did this when we were our smallest, our weakest, and our most vulnerable, and we didn't know that there were limitations, and we become kind of like learned helplessness, where we where we say, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not as cool as, but it's a whole bunch of BS, because it's just stuff that we've fed to ourselves. And so, and that, I mean, I was thinking along the lines of, I actually came across this quote today by Dolly Parton. I'm a big hick, so, Anyway, she said basically, find who you are and then do that on purpose. And I love that, because, it sets you free. And I know what it's like to feel like you're not good enough or smart enough or pretty enough or whatever else. But it's such a line of BS. And so, what do you guys think about that? I would love for you guys to just jump in there.
Yeah, I love the reminder that at one point we didn't even know how to walk. and being a parent, it's easier to relate to this. But even if you're not a parent, you know how babies learn to walk is they get up and they fall over. And they get up and they fall over. And they get up and maybe they try something different and they fall over. But every baby falls over. It's a great mental image. But every baby falls over, you guys. That's how we have to see ourselves. Something that we were just talking about before we went live was a quote from one of the leaders in our organization is how you learn to do something is you go in and you break something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's perfect. It's you stand up and just expect to fall down, and that's how everyone does it, but then everyone learns to walk in their own way. Not everyone makes the same mistakes, but as long as you have your end goal in mind, as long as you are being you on purpose, like we were just talking about, you're going to get to that end goal. It's a process. I'm not sure if that actually lined up and made sense, but that's what I have.
It made total sense.
Okay, it's my turn. Sorry. I love that. It's absolutely perfect. And to go along with what you said, like when you go in and you just do it, you're gonna make mistakes. And we all have this like pre-programmed idea that mistakes are bad or whatever, but in my household, I tell my kids to make mistakes because that means they are trying. And every time my daughter has to learn something new, I will say, this is how I do it, this is how it works for me, but you have to do it how it works for you. And that is, I believe, the way that we should be teaching all young people, and we should reteach that to ourselves, because you have to find what works for you. And like Sarah said earlier, this person may have done it this way, but that's how they know how to do it. So yes, that's how they're going to teach you to do it. But you have to find what works for you. And that is being you on purpose. And when you are doing that, you are fulfilling your passions as well. You find what works for you, and then you feel great about it because you figured it out. You made those mistakes, you got back up, you figured it out, and that is passionate. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's you.
That's exactly it. That's when you're passionate about something. How easy is it? It's so easy. When you're passionate about something, when you're being who you are and you're following your own intuition and what feels good to you, it's easy. Mm-hmm. It's so much easier than trying to do exactly what somebody else is doing. Doesn't mean that you can't get to that same goal, but the method is different. It makes such a huge difference. It's easy.
It is. And what I like about it is even those moments where it's not easy and you're like, ah! I'm going to kill myself. This thing is driving me crazy. What in the heck is going on back here? You know, because you get in that tech stuff that drives almost everybody crazy and they go, how do you do this? I don't understand. But it's not, it's you know, when you're passionate about it, you'll walk away from it for 15 minutes, but you'll come back to it and you'll break something else until you figure out how to work it. And it's just so much freaking fun because once you figure it out, it's like that little kid that learns how to walk. Once they do it and they see, you know, that look on their face like, I did that. Oh my gosh. And that just lights another fire because, you know, once they learn how to walk, they want to learn how to run. Once they learn how to eat, they want to know how to eat everything, you know. They got the fork now, they got the spoon, you know, so they get all excited about all of these things. And I think we forget that sometimes, and so I think sometimes we ought to just be like we're 5 and we forget that we can't climb to the top of the monkey bars, you know, because it's not safe. Forget safe. We need to have a little bit more fun. And so that's one of the things that I really love about doing something that inspires you, that really ignites your passion. And I can see it sometimes, like in our group, especially since we have that community. You can go back there and you can see people, and they're kind of smoldering, like their kindling is going, but they don't really know how to like get it any further. But their kindling's going, and you can see that they're just about ready to ignite, and it's really awesome when they find their spot. What do you guys think about that?
Hold on a second. My lights went off. Whoa. Okay. Now for my next trick. Yeah, to add to that, and back to what we're talking about, how everyone has to do it in their own way, it's that first ignition, that first time when you go from smoldering and building to an actual win, an actual success, that's different for everyone. It's different for every 5-year-old too, for every little kid. Kids don't learn to do everything in the same order, you know, and some kids learn to do things later. And like Helena was saying, we need to retrain ourselves to go back to that. That's good. That's okay. That everyone's going to learn things in a different time, in a different way, in a different order, and you need to celebrate that because, you know, we go from banging our heads against the wall, figuratively or literally sometimes, trying to do what somebody else is doing exactly the way that we're doing it. But when you figure out how to do it for yourself, your first step may be way at the bottom of somebody else's ladder, but it's your first step, and that's huge. You need to celebrate that, and that's what's going to ignite that flame, and that's how you keep going. That's how you build on that. Mm-hmm. I can't turn the lights off to end that, or
awesome.
I would. I completely agree. I don't know what else to add to that, but I think that, you know, when you are smoldering and you are just about to ignite, you just have to keep going. You have to keep taking those steps every single day. You have to keep consistent in daily activity towards whatever your goal is. If it's a little kid walking, like you said, they don't give up. They get right back up and they take that next step, and they get right back up and take that next step, and the next day they take 2 steps. And this is the same for us. When you want to build an online business, or you want to learn a new language, or you want to, you know, be an author or whatever, you have to make every step count, and you have to just break it and get back up and do it. Fall down, get back up and do it. And you have to just keep going. You keep stoking the fire. You know, you can't stoke the fire and be a big flame and then let it go out. You have to keep it burning consistently and just keep going, you know, never give up. And being you and doing what works for you will keep that fire going.
Awesome, awesome. And I just want to add one thing to that. You never know who's who's watching your fire. You never know who's paying attention to what you're doing, and you're helping them ignite their passion or their dream or whatever. And that's that goes for being a mom, but also for being just people that are friends with you or whatever else. You never know who's watching. You never know who needs that little spark, that little. And so don't forget that, and don't forget to share the falls and the breakdowns and the breaks and whatever else, because people need to know that it's not all perfect in order to get to where you're going. So don't be afraid to share that, because it's that's what it is. And then so do you guys want to add any last thing before I wrap it up, or okay?
Yes, I do. I always do. Guys who are watching this, not just us three, but you guys too. I know this sounds really basic, this thing that we're talking about, taking it one step at a time, doing it in your own way. I know it sounds super simple and kind of duh. It's critical. It's absolutely critical not to forget this stuff and to really, really think about it and apply it, because it's the foundation for your everything, for your future success, and it's really important. That's what I've got.
Yes. And don't forget to celebrate everything. Celebrate your falls. Celebrate your mistakes, because that is how you learn not to do it that way, and that's not the best way to do it for you. So celebrate it all. The challenges, the struggles, the fall downs, the breaking of things. Celebrate it all, because that's how you grow. That's how you stretch, and that's how you become super successful.
All right, I hope that this episode has helped you guys to really realize you're already everything you need to be. You are already full of passion and full of desire and full of all the things that you want in life. Don't stop being yourself. Be yourself, set yourself on fire, and start a movement of passion all around the world for yourself. Because that's what we want for you. That's why we get on here every day and share everything we're doing and who we are, and share the rebels. And if you're on somebody's blog page right now because they shared it with you and cared enough about you to let you know that they wanted you to see this, please click around on their links, click around on their blog, get to know that person, get to know how freaking awesome they are by being themselves. Because they are, and they love you, and they love you enough to share this stuff with you guys, because they want you to do the same thing. They want you to be on fire, and I can't tell you that. Yeah. Be sure to tune back in again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, when our awesome Sarah Kay will be sharing and have some very crazy come out and just share being themselves. I mean, we're actually just probably gonna, it'll be a whole nother episode of people showing you how to be yourself and how to have the life you want to have. So we can't wait to see you till next time. Tune again tomorrow at 3 p.m. and we will see you later. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.